What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to do some gameplay of the good old Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 2. Do I still think this is the best version of the home versions? Not including the Sega Saturn. To me, that just sits out on a hill on its own. I'm talking about the home versions that came out when the game released for the first time in homes after arcades. I know that was a weird way to say all that, but that's just me, I'm weird. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 for Super Nintendo, I do think it's still the best. Although the Sega Genesis one has grown on me quite a bit over the years. But yeah, I still think this may take the lead, but we're gonna go ahead and dive into it right now. All right, here we are over at the hub, ready to play some Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo. Here we go. That's right, baby. We are using original hardware as always. And here we go, and you'll note this is the second revision of the game because it has the developed by Sculptured Software intro. The very first day one release did not have this intro. It just went straight to Acclaim. If you didn't know that, now you know. Of course, some still stand by this being the definitive home version, the best home version. And I'm right there with them. If we're talking about the home versions that came out in 94, this was the home version to have. Although, you know, the Bonky Donk, something about the Bonky Donk. There's just a charm about the Bonky Donk, guys, you know. But the Super Nintendo version is quite something. Of course, you have these opening screens, and it shows a little story, but it doesn't have the pictures like it did in the arcade. Well, whatever. However, another difference between this and the original first release, this actually has, like, obviously the bio screens, and it also has attract mode, you know, where you see some fights and stuff like that. Actually didn't have the attract mode fights in the very first version. It just had the story screen and then these bio screens. It didn't have any, computer fights for attract mode, whereas this one actually does. Another little fun fact. So, let's get started. Yes, I'm going very easy, geeks. It's already frustrating enough, especially, I mean, it gets, this, I don't know, you know, it's tough. The Super Nintendo version, man, it's crazy. My guy, Raiden. Of course, the Super Nintendo has that through a pillow type sound, and things have a little bit more of a softer edge on the sound, which is, you know, it is what it is. It wouldn't be Super Nintendo without it. You know, as much as we love the Bonky Donk on the Sega Genesis and how much that has its charm, the Super Nintendo has its own charm with its soft kind of sound, wispy sound, whatever you want to call it. So, and this version has, you know, we talk about the blood like looking like it's hitting the floor right before it lands on the Genesis. Well, this one has its own problems because there's moments where half the blood of the uppercut is cut off, depending on what you're doing. And I didn't even have that ready for a fatality. Raiden with a Y. So ridiculous.
Round one, fight.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Johnny. Johnny with the red bits on his suit, his outfit there. Suit. Whatever. Oh my goodness, Raiden.
Round two.
Not super impactful sound there for the electricity because of the Super Nintendo, but it's also not like the Genesis either, so there is that. Although you do get a nice explosion when you do the fatality. One of the, well, both of them. Oh my God! I was holding the damn button the whole time. Son of a bitch. You know, I actually, see, I had the button held the whole time. Well, maybe not the whole time, but definitely longer than the 6 seconds that's required. I like how whenever it hits, it's like this long echo. Like it's in some giant room of reverb. All in all, though, this is a great version of this game. I do still love this version. I remember this was the version that I got, of course, naturally, when it came out. First day it came out, was right there, ready to get it, got it, brought it home, and just, me and my buddies played it, and played it, and played it, and played it, and just, I mean, it was a whole weekend of non-stop playing this. So happy to be able to play this game at home. And then, of course, even then, I was such a stickler for arcade accuracy that I was basically, like, you know, nitpicking this thing the whole way. Such as this fades to black and then boom, which, you know, does not do that in the arcade. Hell, it doesn't even do it in the Genesis. Genesis version of this fatality is actually better, in my opinion. But yeah, I was already nitpicking. But there, I'm like, you know, the names aren't in the boxes. That's a gripe from day one with the Super Nintendo MK2. You know, and then other little things. There's no posts right here, you see? There's no pillars on the portal. It drove me nuts. And there's all kinds of stuff that drove me nuts. The other thing that really drove me nuts when I first got this and I first played it and first did a fatality, one of the things that, you know, I was really waiting for was fatality and then brrr, the noise, right? It doesn't have the noise. It just says fatality and you hear the blood dripping. Well, you know, that little noise with the fatality, super important to me. Whether you like it or not, or you think I'm nuts, that's super important. I wanted that in there. I wanted that in there. And, Jesus. Whatever. But it's not in there. It's just a fatality. And then, you know, the blood drips. And in Genesis, you get the brrr, but you don't get the voice saying fatality. However, in the 32X, finally, you get the combo of the voice and the noise, which I very much appreciate. Raiden wins. Raiden wins. Fatality. Alright. Here we go. Here we go. I swear to God, I'm holding the damn button. I am holding it in. I want the explosion, damn it. There it is. Yeah.
Flawless victory.
The good old Super Nintendo. You can really see Raiden's face on this one.
Round one.
Deadpool. You know, it looks cool on this one because of all the chains are there. They're a little, I feel like they're a lot bigger than maybe they should be, but that's just whatever. But the background where the Deadpool is lit through the little windows there, through the grates, it's not quite like that in the arcades. I don't know where they came up with that whole idea that they wanted to do that, but whatever. I feel like there's a lot more chains in the foreground than there should be, or maybe they're just bigger or something. I don't know. It feels like there's a lot, but obviously they wanted to show off, hey, look, we can do all this. And of course, in the Genesis, they couldn't do nearly any of that. So, you'll have that. You know, you'll have that. Let's see if I can do this. Just screwing around. There we go. Oh, whoop. Oh, whoop. Oh, whoop.
Fatality.
Supposedly he's saying hello, but to me it's, oh, whoop. That's what I hear. You know?
Fight.
The music is, you know, hey, it's good. I appreciate the music in this because it is correct. The levels are correct with the music, okay? But again, it has that Super Nintendo wispy, muffled sound almost. It's not so much that it's muffled. People like to say it's through a pillow or it's muffled. To me, it's not so much that it's that, it's just soft. It's not so much through a pillow, it's just soft, you know? Like, whereas the hard edges around it are kind of, you know, smoothed out, so to speak. That's what I feel about Super Nintendo's sound. Okay? That's my explanation or my description of how I feel it sounds. You know? So, anyway. That's just how I feel about it. But I do think that they did a good job with the music on here for what they were working with on the Super Nintendo. Not too bad at all. And it's all correct and in the right places and all that stuff, so I do appreciate that.
Excellent.
What I'm oddly, what confuses me is that with Katana's fan, and I think even Baraka, moves like that, the blood drops are not, they're just so weird looking. They don't look like they should look. And the ones that, you know, they should look like are in the game. But one has to wonder why, like, see, look, that don't look great to me. And now she's just going to do it over and over and over. And I wasn't ready, and the blood was only half there on that uppercut. You see that? Anyway. Yeah. It's like these tiny little, but the correct blood drops are in there. I mean, they're in the uppercuts and they're in other moves and whatnot. But, yeah, it's whatever. Weird things with, it's these weird little oddities with Super Nintendo. Now, the one thing I will say is, unlike the Genesis, you do have the Shadow Priest. That's right, I said it. The Shadow Priest, I got it right this time, is there in the background. He's just not floating. I mean, he's floating, but he's not, you know. Yeah. Okay, so he's not going up and down, so to speak. But he is there. He is definitely there. Which is a nice thing to see.
Finisher.
Well, eat this, Molina. I swear to God, if this doesn't... There we go. I was going to say. Hold on.
Fatality.
There, I added my own. I added my own.
Round one.
Oh, that bugged the hell out of me back in the day. It just really annoyed me. I'm like, really? You guys got this down almost just as good as I could have ever asked for. And the one thing I really loved about that fatality in arcades was that whole sound effect that was added to it, and you just didn't give it to me here. And God dang it! Did that ever piss me off back in the day? It still kind of irritates me. It's like, how hard would it have been to add your little soft, wispy Super Nintendo version of... I don't know.
Fight.
I don't know. I'm going nuts over some weird shit. I know, guys. I know. It happens. It's what I do. Now here we go with Scorpion being an asshole. Here. You want this? Yeah, you want it? I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to finish him yet. So it didn't happen. Yep, it didn't happen. Wow, we're already up here. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see if we can do the old you know what here. And we will probably do it. There it is. Here we go. What am I talking about, you say? Well, that. That's right. Back to the portal with no pillars that also drove me nuts. I have found the passage. The passage to hell. Now you must battle with an MK. Prepare yourself to return to Garo's lair. Let's go. Jade, who's going to straight whip my ass. Oh, well. I'm not even... Stop it! Yeah, that's... Yes. Okay.
Jade wins.
Okay there, lady. Come on. Whoop my ass again.
Fight.
It's cool, though, because the background, I mean, it looks like it's ripped straight out of the Super Nintendo, you know, original MK. That background there. Which is a nice little thing to actually see blood against the background. Even though she's there. There, see? Blood against that background. Unlike when it first appeared on the Super Nintendo. Sweat. You want my sweat? So stupid. So freaking stupid. Sweat. If you're gonna do that, just take the shit out the whole way. Don't just... we put sweat in there. At least it has that. Although it did result in a couple cool fatalities like Sub-Zero's, you know, deep freeze and all that, which would end up becoming thing in MK2. Okay, the Baraka blood is different from the Katana fan, but still, it looks so weird. It just looks weird. The way it's flying around, it's like flying, like, you know, like, oh, it's not, whatever. You know what I mean, if you're a nitpicker like me. My whole idea with this is probably not going to work, but we're going to try it anyway. That's not going to work. Rick. Stop it! Yeah. Not gonna work. It's alright. Also was just, you know, flapping my gums as I usually do.
Fatality.
It's alright. First continue needing to be used. Other than Jade, of course. We didn't do that. That would have been the first time. Let's see if I can do it now that I'm actually going to somewhat pay attention to what I'm doing.
Round 1. Fight.
Wow. You know, you would think I would stop doing that at some point. And I did it again! Stop jumping away. Okay. Wow. Alright. We're just gonna have to do whatever we're doing here. What? Did you see that nonsense? That was some BS. Okay. We'll change it up. I didn't want to, but... Now it's getting to be an asshole, so we're going to change it up a little bit. We'll go... We'll try it. We'll try it with Sub-Zero. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. I mean, that's a good start, but it's just not going to result in a whole lot, probably. The prick. You know that? You're an asshole. You're an asshole! Get out of here! Son of a bitch. Oh my god. Why? Why? How comes when I do that same thing, you just stand there? And then when you do it, like, whatever. Because I'm an idiot, that's why. Look at this. Throw! 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 I just Wow, I just totally tried to do the Raiden Superman and I'm Sub-Zero. My god. Unreal, man. Unreal. Let's go, you know, back over here again, see if we can't do this. I only have so many continues, I think, right? So, I mean, we're at the mercy of the continues. Whatever happens, happens here, guys. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Oh, well. This game's an asshole.
Shang Tsung wins.
Why do I keep doing aerial shit when I know it's just going to result in bullshit? Stop it, damn it. Stop it. Here we go. Oh. That might work. Yeah, there we go. Kind of. Not really. There he goes, Mr. Fireball Man. You goddamn prick. What?
Finish it. Shang Tsung.
You gonna hit me with the Superman? I just throw you! Fucking throw! What a crock, just an absolute crock of shit. You could never do that in a two-player game. But, oh yeah, the computer, yeah, hell yeah. Computer can throw you out of the air. Yeah, hell yeah, that's great. Fucking prick. I don't even care anymore. We're just, fuck it. Yeah, eat that, you son.
Shang Tsung wins. Round 2. Fight. Superb.
Bullshit. Bull fucking shit.
Shang Tsung wins.
Crock of shit. Absolute crock. How many is there? That was it. I used them already. What the hell? Wow. Okay. Oh my God. Well, there you go. Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat 2. I still think it's, of that, when it came out in 94, in September of 94, I still do believe this was the best version, arcade representation, even though it clearly has its issues. It's 16-bit. You can only do so much with it. And the Genesis has its charm about it too. But at the time, when I got it, I only had the Super Nintendo version. I actually didn't experience the Genesis version until, I'd say, a couple months later. So it wasn't right away. So yeah, I really think that Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo does hold the title for best home version when it came out. That's just me. But yeah, so there you go. Little gameplay. I raged out. I'm sure some of you love that. And so there you had some of that, because this game turns into a real asshole once you get to the top of the mountain. At least it lets you get to the top of the mountain, unlike the actual arcade game, which, holds its foot on your neck pretty early on. So yeah, there you go, guys. With that said, I'll catch you all down the road.